In less than 3 weeks, more than 100 members of my family will be arriving at this farm for our family reunion, which would be fine, except for one small problem. We don't have enough toilets. So I did what any sensible person would do and looked into renting one. 328 euros for 24 hours. Now, to be fair, the farm is in a pretty remote location. Somebody has to deliver it, drop it down, and afterwards deal with cleaning it. But still, for that kind of money, we figured we could build a permanent one for less. I have safari level insect repellent on me right now. 33 degrees outside, but it doesn't matter because we're on the clock basically. We have to get started. Let's start with the hole. Let's go. Took out my shawl. Timing wasn't ideal. I had exactly 1 week before I had to head back to the city for work, so if we wanted the toilet before 100 relatives arrived, we needed to get moving. A family friend had some old pallets he no longer needed, so we loaded them onto a trailer and brought them back to the farm. At that point, I genuinely believed we had the whole thing finished by the next day. Looking back, that was probably the first mistake. Before we could build anything, we still needed flooring. We're looking for the cheapest screws, roofing materials, screws, and a surprisingly long list of things we hadn't thought about when we came up with this brilliant plan. A few hours and a lighter wallet later, construction could finally begin. The floor went in, the walls started taking shape, and for a brief moment everything seemed to be going exactly according to plan. So this is the progress we made on day 1. I'm wearing some funky clothes today because that's the only clean clothes I have left. Basically, we have the walls up, treated this wood so it would last a little longer. The Euro pallets are giving us a little tough job because they're not the most straightest things in the world, so there's tough pickle to level out. So our goal for the day is to maybe put the roof on here, and then we have to think how to cover this. The idea is to maybe make a square door, so there's you can hold toilet paper and stuff like this here, and then you can put the mirror here, wash your hands here. That's the idea right now, but let's see. Let's get started. This farm sits next to an old manor, and when my great-grandfather decided to build the main house, he originally wanted to put it somewhere else. The manor lord told him not to. According to the story, he pointed at the area my great-grandfather had chosen and said it would always be too wet. Instead, he suggested building on slightly higher ground. My great-grandfather listened. 100 years later, half the farm still turns into a swamp after heavy rain. The house never does. The manor lord was right. It's strange to think that even today almost every project on this farm is shaped by decisions made by people who died long before I was born. And that wasn't the only thing these people left behind. While the project waited for its next round of materials, there was another job that couldn't be ignored. Grass. Every year we cut it. Every year it comes back. And every year it seems just a little more determined than the year before. However hard you try to trim the grass and keep it at bay, it always comes back twice as strong. So we're gonna try to tackle that again. And even the areas we've already mowed, that area is already back too. The area behind the sauna is a good example. Leave it alone for long enough and it stops being grass altogether. First come the bushes, then come the small trees. And eventually, you're no longer maintaining a farm, you're fighting a forest. So I grabbed the trimmer and got to work. For the first 40 minutes, everything went reasonably well. After that, The machine and I started having different opinions about what counted as progress. The grass wasn't really grass anymore. It was thick stems, thorny growth and young trees that my trimmer line had absolutely no interest in dealing with. Eventually, I admitted defeat and moved somewhere easier. One of the strange things about this farm is that almost every corner seems to have a story attached to it. While clearing one particularly overgrown area, I found myself standing next to what looks like a small hill covered in vegetation. Except it isn't a hill, at least not originally. According to family stories, there was once a man living nearby who everybody believed was a witch. Whether he actually was or not is another question entirely. At some point he asked my great-grandfather if he could store a pile of timber here until he got his own affairs sorted out. My great-grandfather agreed. The timber arrived, the witch never came back, and apparently nobody in the family wanted to be the person who moved the witch's belongings, so the pile stayed. For decades, trees grew around it, plants grew through it, and eventually it became part of the landscape itself. Today it's basically a flower bed with a supernatural backstory. I've got no idea whether any of it is true, but nobody has moved the wood yet, which probably tells you everything you need to know.
You can see I cut this last year, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new branches are back. Feels like you cut one down and 6 grows right back.
Eventually I gave up on the trimmer line and asked my relative to bring stronger line from the city.
So it's day 2, we have the new trimmer line. Yesterday I just had to stop because, let me show you, this is the old line. It's completely useless here. It just says hello to the grass and then breaks. So we have nothing to do with that. But luckily, I said to my relative that bring something tough enough to cut down trees. Well, this was the thickest that they had in the shop. Let's see if it focuses. This is the old one and this is the new one. I think we'll make good progress today. So let's try it out. Yesterday was unmotivating to say the least. But let's bring the trimmer out and try the new line. Let's see how the day goes. I'm excited actually. This is where I just decided to give up yesterday, so I'm actually excited. Let's see. Okay.
And for once, something actually lived up to them. The difference was immediate.
I don't know if I ever had this much fun cutting grass. You just needed a thicker trimmer line. I think the grass just falls over before I even get to it.
Suddenly I wasn't fighting the machine anymore. I was making progress. The more grass I cleared, the more the farm started to reveal itself again. Old paths appeared, buildings emerged from behind vegetation. Corners I'd walked past dozens of times suddenly felt usable again. And it reminded me of something I wanted to do here for years.
You can see I'm literally in the middle of the jungle right now. But I remember from my childhood that this all used to be completely flat grasslands when we had goats. And the problem is that when the sun goes down about 8 or 9, the front lawn goes completely dark. And I have a little theory that if you can get rid of this grass, then the evening sun should be shining on the front lawn, which means we get sunshine longer. As I'm standing here, this seems to be like the worst part of the farm right now, because I have no idea how I'm gonna clean all this. But the payoff, I think, is pretty huge. I'm already imagining the hours it's gonna take.
The strange things about restoration is that sometimes you're not really restoring buildings. You're restoring memories. Somewhere in the middle of all this, the garden had quietly been getting on with things by itself.
So a little update on the gardening project. I think it's going really, really well. Planted some basil. I've never seen basil this thick. I think I need to cut it down to inspire it to grow a little more, but the stems are really thick. I think it's thriving. Still don't know what this is, but I brought some green onion that I was growing on my balcony in my apartment, and I put it here. When I planted it, it was basically dying, and I think it's starting to come back. I still think I planted them a little too thick, but overall I planted some salad that died. Some coriander, I think it's doing good. The green onions have tripled in size, so they're really thriving in there. Some of them had died. I think it's natural. But what's really interesting is that the dill seeds that we planted, I thought they're not gonna pop out, but some of them are coming, and I think overall it's a success. I had zero prior knowledge when I entered this project. I was just winging it, and it worked. I think that's just the best. So I think we can continue growing stuff in the future and expanding this little garden a little.
Eventually, I made my way back to the toilet. There was still a door to build, a window to fit, and 100 small details that always seemed to take longer than expected. While some of my family was renovating one of the rooms inside the main house, they drew out an old cupboard. My dad happened to walk past that, and a genius idea occurred to him. It was the perfect size for the toilet sitting area. You just cut the hole, remove the shelves of course, and you have a very fancy sitting area. I mean, it looks good, and it's just a wonderful way of reusing old things. We also added a rain pipe, so rainwater wouldn't damage the outer wall. So we started by adding boards to the toilet so we could cut the door shape out.
This was a ship my father and his best friend used to go to sea when they were younger. And they installed this glass here that they used to look for treasures in the sea bottom. Apparently they never found any, but I think this glass will be perfect for the toilet, so we're gonna take it and reuse it.
Unfortunately, the weather had its own plans. And with it disappeared 2 full days of work. Just like that, the week was over. Tomorrow, I'll be driving 4.5 hours away back to the city. The toilet isn't finished, the grass still needs cutting, and there are more projects waiting than I could possibly finish in a single summer. I've never been particularly good at leaving jobs half done. I like finishing things, crossing them off the list, moving on to the next one. But this farm doesn't really work that way. Every time you solve one problem, you discover 3 more waiting behind it. Still, that's probably part of the reason I keep coming back. 100 years ago, my great-grandfather started building something here that outlasted him. And every summer, without really meaning to, I find myself becoming part of the same story. In 2 weeks, I'll be back. And hopefully by then we'll be a little closer to having a toilet. Because if we aren't, 100 relatives are going to arrive with some very strong opinions. And I'd rather not find out what those are.